What's up, family? This is your boy Ivan Hall, the Credit King. Do you know how to rent an apartment with no credit or poor credit? The presence of a credit check is usually a major barrier when renting an apartment. This may be a huge source of concern since if you have terrible credit, your lease application is more likely to be turned down. The good news is that those with poor credit or no credit still have alternatives for renting an apartment. Simply put, while doing a credit check, the leasing agent will utilize your personal information to access your credit reports. After comparing these reports to the precise scoring formula they use, they will determine whether you are reliable enough to rent an apartment from them. Particularly from the perspective of a lender, a credit check is frequently an essential stage in the apartment leasing process. They want to make sure that whoever is renting is financially capable of making wise financial decisions, including paying their rent on time. They also seek proof that the individual can afford their bills. Another security step is that they frequently conduct a background check at the same time as the credit check. There are a few situations, though, when these checks could unjustly disadvantage you. For instance, it's possible that a student or new grad is looking for housing without a credit history. No way in hell will they stand a chance of passing a credit check. The good news is that there are a few ways to rent an apartment without having your credit checked. Even under challenging circumstances, there may still be ways to convince the leasing office to let you rent an apartment. You may take a few steps to improve your chances of finding a decent rental even if you have poor credit. When seeking to rent an apartment with terrible credit, it may be challenging to estimate what each leasing agency would consider being poor credit in the first place. The office might use a FICO credit score to help you better grasp your situation. Additionally, they could use an internal scoring system, which would provide a credit score that is very different from the benchmark ratings. Having said that, you should get your free credit scores from all three main bureaus before you start looking for an apartment. AnnualCreditReport.com offers one free copy of each of your credit reports every year. Numerous reliable, cost-free sources are available that can obtain your scores for you. After receiving your reports, go over them and contrast them with your own personal data. Check your report for any inaccuracies, such as accidentally doubled information, expired accounts, or makers that shouldn't be there. Dispute any inaccurate information you come across to have it taken down. Your score can increase based on how many conflicts are resolved. While everyone has a perfect house or neighborhood in mind, it may be a good idea to also take other areas into account. You may have a better understanding of the needs and rent costs in the region by shopping around. In some circumstances, it could be more crucial to make a concession than to maintain your ideal scenario. For instance, you can look at less costly neighborhoods with similar amenities if your ideal apartment is in a much more expensive section of the city. Those with a little credit history or worse credit may find it simpler to rent these apartments. In the leasing office, there is no reason to exaggerate or give justifications. The agent is familiar with your background and can access your credit report. There is a chance to clarify matters that the credit report does not consider, though. In some cases, it may be beneficial to tell the leasing agent about the causes of particular delinquencies or charge-offs. Include your current plan of action for resolving the issue as well. A credit report can only provide a partial picture of your payment history to a leasing agency. In some situations, it could be beneficial to include payment history from other creditors with whom you have a solid relationship. A vehicle loan, a phone or internet bill, or other utility bills may fall within this category. If you pay extra upfront, some landlords may overlook a terrible credit history. If a customer pays 3 months in advance, for instance, they could be more inclined to deal with someone who has poor credit. Even if you have a poor credit history, this shows that you have the means to support the flat. By doing this, you make yourself seem less risky to the leasing office. A cosigner is someone who also signs your lease. On the lease, the leasing firm will also take into account their credit ratings. Your bad credit ratings can be offset by their high credit, allowing you to rent the flat. Many college students and recent grads may want their parents to sign as cosigners. A leasing agent will often not be concerned about the student's lack of credit history if their parents have strong credit. Getting a roommate may provide the leasing agent another source of credit to consider when making their choice, similar to having a parent cosign on an apartment. You can also think about a sublease if you are unable to find a roommate with sufficient credit. In this case, you would effectively share an apartment with the individual whose name is listed on the lease. Remember that in this case, the lease would not have your name on it. However, this can be a good alternative if you need a place urgently and have bad credit. For more credit tips, credit hacks, and credit repair secrets, subscribe to our YouTube channel or visit us online at thecreditking.com.